The ocean is life. I mean, it's where everything probably started. I'm Raphael Kudela. I'm a professor in the Ocean Sciences Department at UC Santa Cruz. I've been here at UC Santa Cruz since 1999, which would be going on 24 years this year. The primary goal of our lab is to understand how the oceans work, starting at the base of the food chain, the phytoplankton. One of the areas that we've been spending a lot of time working on is this diatom called Pseudonychia. Diatoms are just little phytoplankton, little plants, you can think of them that way. Most diatoms are great. They're the base of the food chain. This particular diatom, Pseudonychia, produces a toxin, and so it produces a compound called domoic acid, which is literally a neurotoxin. So $1 million question is, what causes it to produce toxin? This organism doesn't like it super cold. Instead, it likes it a little bit warmer. We know warming water definitely makes these organisms more toxic. And so I kind of jokingly refer to it as the Goldilocks organism, but there's many other factors. Ocean acidification or lower pH also makes them produce more toxin. And then certain types of nutrients, especially from runoff from humans, can make them more toxic as well. It's a rare occasion where a diatom is affecting people's daily lives, but it does happen when it's producing this toxin and getting into the food web. If you sat down and ate a whole bunch of mussels or oysters and they've accumulated that toxin, you're going to get a pretty big dose of it. It causes damage to your short-term memory, and so you get temporary amnesia. And then if you get enough of it, which fortunately hasn't happened in a very long time, it causes permanent brain damage and it can kill you. If you've seen sea lions seizuring on the beach, or if you've been told you can't harvest Dungeness crab at this particular time, it's usually because of domoic acid. 2022 was the 6th warmest year in the last 50 years, and so it's just every year we're getting another warm year. If you want to know what's going to happen, say at the end of the century, a big question is whether organisms in the ocean will evolve. And so what we're doing is forcing this diatom to evolve in warm temperatures. And so we've brought it into the laboratory and we've been growing it at about 15 degrees warmer than it is now. And then we can see, does it grow faster? Does it produce more toxin? It's just like having a lab rat. Once we have it, we can do pretty much anything we want.
The opportunities for my grad work just keep expanding because there's so many different topics that we're working on. I love the opportunity to work under Raphael Kudela to help build this time series that will benefit not just our grad students, but the overall community and hopefully future generations.
If we understand what makes this organism tick, why it's growing where it is, we can actually predict it. And so we have models that can predict sort of on a weather forecast scale. So we can say over the next 3 days, this is where you're likely to have a toxic bloom. And so this is where you should be concerned about it. We work very closely with California Department of Public Health in terms of letting them know that there's toxin in the water. That is super useful for the fishing industry because then they can have targeted closures. We're now taking that sort of weather forecast prediction and we're putting it into seasonal prediction. Lab and field data goes directly into those models and it helps us understand what's going on. The really big picture, if we slowed down climate change, then everything gets better. We shouldn't just do science for science sake. It needs to pay back to society because we're all in this together. We're causing climate change. We all need to be part of the solution.